The war had lasted 3 terrible years. Millions of humans died. Even more Vesperians lost their lives. Both sides were tired. Both sides were scared. No one remembered anymore why the fighting had started. Jack Harris sat alone in his quarters. On the military base, he looked at the medal on his desk. It was for bravery in battle. He did not feel brave now. He felt afraid. "Commander Harris, please report to the general's office immediately," said the voice over the speaker. Jack stood up, straightened his uniform, and walked down the long hallway. The other soldiers looked at him with strange expressions. Some seemed sad, others seemed relieved. Jack wondered what was happening. General Scott waited for him with several other high-ranking officers. Their faces were serious. "Sit down, Jack," said the general. He never called Jack by his first name. This was not good. "The Vesperians have offered us peace," said the general. Jack felt his heart jump. Peace? After all this time? After all the death? "That's wonderful news, sir," said Jack. "There's a condition," said the general. He looked uncomfortable. "They want a marriage." Jack waited for more information. When none came, he asked, "What kind of marriage, sir?" "A marriage between a human and their queen, Queen Zalara herself." The room went silent. Jack looked around at the other officers. They all stared at him. "And you've chosen me," said Jack. It wasn't a question. He already knew the answer. "You're our best diplomat. You speak some of their language. You've shown respect for their culture, and you single quotes re ... The general paused. "You're single with no family ties on Earth." Jack thought about his empty apartment back home. His parents had died before the war. No siblings, few friends left. The war had taken everything. "This marriage would be political only," explained a woman in a business suit. "You would live in their royal palace as a symbol of peace. You would attend official functions. Nothing more." "And if I refuse?" asked Jack. The general's face hardened. "Then millions more will die. Our last 3 colonies in the Orion sector will fall within months. Earth itself could be next." Jack looked down at his hands. They were steady. Even now, facing this impossible choice, his hands didn't shake. "When do I leave?" he asked. The answer came too quickly. "Today, their royal ship is already in orbit." 6 hours later, Jack stood in a shuttle headed for the massive Vesperian vessel. He wore a new uniform created just for this occasion. Blue and gold, the colors of Earth. In his pocket was a small metal case containing a ring. They told him he would need to place it on the Queen's finger, or whatever passed for fingers among the Vesperians. No human had ever seen Queen Zalara up close. In propaganda videos, she appeared as a terrifying figure over 8 feet tall, with an iridescent exoskeleton that shimmered with deadly beauty. Her multiple limbs ended in sharp points that could slice through battle armor. Her eyes were compound like those of an insect, reflecting 1,000 tiny images of whoever stood before her. The shuttle docked with the Vesperian ship. Jack stood at the airlock, taking deep breaths. "Remember," said his handler, a woman named Olivia, who would stay with him for the first month, "bow your head but maintain eye contact. 3 steps forward, then stop. Wait for her to speak first." The airlock opened. Jack stepped through into a vast chamber. The walls pulsed with a blue light. The air smelled like honey and metal, and there she was. Queen Zalara stood in the center of the chamber, surrounded by smaller Vesperians who must be her guards or advisors. She was even taller than in the videos. Her exoskeleton wasn't just one color, but shifted between deep purple and blue as she moved. Her 4 main arms were folded across her chest. 2 smaller arms extended from her midsection, holding what appeared to be some kind of scepter. Jack moved forward 3 steps and stopped. He bowed his head, but kept his eyes on her face, if you could call it a face. Where a human would have a mouth, she had mandibles that clicked softly as she breathed. A small drone hovered near her head. It spoke in a flat, mechanical voice. "Welcome, human Jack Harris. I am Zalara, Queen of the Vesperian Empire, conqueror of the 7 systems, destroyer of the Arcturan Rebellion." The drone paused, then continued. "And now, it seems, a bride. There was something in the mechanical voice, a hint of irony, perhaps even humor. Jack hadn't expected that. "Thank you for this opportunity to bring peace to our peoples, Your Majesty," Jack said carefully. The Queen's massive compound eyes studied him. Jack felt like he was being dissected. "You are smaller than I expected," said the Queen through the drone. "You are exactly as magnificent as I was told," replied Jack, the mandibles moved in what might have been the Vesperian equivalent of a smile. "You were chosen well, human. You understand diplomacy." The ceremony took place 3 days later. It was broadcast across both civilizations. Humans watched with hope and fear as their representative stood beside the alien queen. The translator. Drones buzzed overhead as they exchanged vows. Neither fully understanding the other's traditions, Jack placed the ring on a thin appendage that extended from one of the queen's main arms. In return, she draped a strange necklace made of shimmering material around his neck. It felt warm against his skin. "With this bond, our peoples are united," said Queen Zalara through her drone. "Let the war between us end this day." The cheers of the Vesperians hurt Jack's ears. They made a high-pitched trilling sound that the translators didn't convert. Later, alone in his new quarters in the royal palace, Jack removed a ceremonial uniform. The room was large and oddly shaped, with curved walls and furniture that seemed designed for bodies very different from his. But there was a bed that looked almost normal, and a window that showed the strange pink sky of Vesperia Prime. Jack expected to be a prisoner, perhaps even killed once the treaty details were finalized. Instead, servants brought him food that had been prepared to suit human tastes. The water was filtered to remove minerals harmful to humans. His quarters even had gravity adjusted to Earth normal. Days passed, then weeks. Jack was summoned only for formal functions, where he stood silently beside Queen Zalara as she ruled her vast empire. Sometimes he caught her looking at him with those compound eyes, studying him when she thought he wouldn't notice. 6 months into his stay, Jack realized something surprising. He wasn't just a symbol anymore. He was learning the complex social structures of Vesperian society. He was sending valuable reports back to Earth. Trade routes were opening. Prisoners were being exchanged. The false marriage had brought real peace. Jack didn't know if he should feel proud or lonely. Perhaps both. On quiet nights, he would stand at his window and look up at the stars, wondering if somewhere out there, someone else was looking back at him. Someone who understood what it meant to give up everything for peace. He didn't know then how much more he would have to give, or what unexpected things he would receive in return. 6 years passed. Jack Harris lived in the royal palace on Vesperia Prime. He was now used to the pink sky and the strange food. He had learned to speak basic Vesperian words without a translator. He had become good at his job as the human ambassador. Every morning, Jack would wake up and write reports to send back to Earth. Every evening, he would attend royal functions where he stood silently next to Queen Zalara. Sometimes their eyes would meet, but they rarely spoke except about official matters. The peace held strong. Humans and Vesperians were trading goods and knowledge. Some humans even visited Vesperia Prime as tourists. Some Vesperians traveled to Earth to study human culture. Jack should have felt proud. He had helped create this peace, but instead he felt lonely. The other humans who visited the palace treated him with a mix of respect and fear. They were not sure if he was still human or if he had become something else after living among the aliens for so long. The Vesperians were polite to him, but distant. He was their queen's human husband, but no one knew exactly what that meant. On the morning of the 6th anniversary of the peace treaty, Jack received a message on his communication device. It was from the Queen herself. "Your presence is requested in the royal chamber at sunset. Come alone." Jack read the message twice. In 6 years, he had never been invited to the Queen's private chambers. They met only in public spaces, surrounded by advisors and guards. All day, Jack felt nervous. Was something wrong with the treaty? Was Earth in danger? Or was he in trouble for some reason? When the pink sky turned dark purple, Jack walked to the Queen's chambers. 2 tall Vesperian guards stood at the door. They looked at him with their compound eyes, but said nothing as they moved aside. To let him pass, the room inside was large and circular. The walls glowed with a soft blue light. There were strange plants growing from the ceiling, their roots hanging down like curtains. In the center of the room was a raised platform covered in what looked like silk. Queen Zalara stood by a large window, looking out at the city below. Without her ceremonial armor, she seemed less intimidating. Her exoskeleton shimmered with a gentle blue color that Jack had never seen before. "You came," said the queen. Her personal translator drone hovered near her head. Its voice was softer than the ones used in public. "You requested my presence, Your Majesty," said Jack with a small bow. "After 6 years, you still bow to me when—" "We are alone," said the queen. There was something in her voice that Jack couldn't identify. "Please sit." Jack sat on a chair that had been designed for human use. The queen moved closer, but remained standing. She was still much taller than him. "Do you know why I have called you here today?" she asked. "I assume it has to do with the anniversary celebration tomorrow," said Jack. "No, it has to do with us." Jack felt confused. There was no us as far as he knew. There was a treaty, a political arrangement, but nothing more. "I don't understand, Your Majesty." The queen's exoskeleton changed color slightly, shifting to a deeper blue with flecks of gold. Jack had learned that Vesperians showed emotions through color changes, but he had never learned what the colors meant. "There is something I have not told you, Jack Harris, something about our marriage." And Jack waited. The queen seemed to be struggling to find the right words. "In Vesperian culture, the marriage ceremony we performed 6 years ago is not just a political bond. It is a biological one." Jack felt his heart beat faster. "What do you mean by biological?" "Vesperian queens mate for life," said Zalara. "When we performed the ceremony, when you placed the ring on my appendage and I placed the necklace on you, our bodies began a process." Jack's hand went to the necklace he still wore. He had never taken it off, thinking it was an important symbol of the peace treaty. "What kind of process?" he asked carefully. "A bonding process." "For Vesperians, it involves physical changes and chemical exchanges. It is why queens only choose one mate in their lifetime." Jack stood up suddenly. "But we didn't." "Physical. Mating is only one part of the bond," said the queen. "Proximity is another, shared experiences. Chemical signatures exchanged through the air." "Are you saying that for 6 years you've considered us actually married, not just politically?" "Yes. And I have respected your human need for space and independence. I have not forced our ways upon you." Jack sat back down, trying to process this information. "Why are you telling me this now, after 6 years?" The queen moved closer to him. She lowered herself to appear less tall, a posture Jack had learned was a sign of respect among Vesperians. "Because I am dying, Jack Harris." The words hit Jack like a physical blow. "What? How? Are you sick, in a way?" "The incomplete bond is affecting my health. My royal physicians have discovered that without completing certain aspects of the bonding process, my body is slowly shutting down. They predict I have less than 1 Earth year to live." Jack felt dizzy. "If the queen died, what would happen to the peace? Would war return? Would millions die again? What do we need to do to complete this bond?" he asked. "We need to be together more. Not just standing side by side at functions, but truly together. Sharing meals, conversations, experiences." "That's all?" Jack asked, surprised. The queen's exoskeleton flashed briefly with a bright purple color. "There is more," she said. "I have studied human culture through your media exchanges. I have learned about a human concept called love." Jack couldn't believe what he was hearing. "Are you saying you want me to love you?" "I'm saying that I believe I already love you, Jack Harris. For a Vesperian queen, the bond is not just physical. It becomes emotional as well. I have watched you for 6 years. I have seen your kindness, your strength, your dedication to peace." Jack stood up and walked to the window. The lights of the city below twinkled like stars. "This is a lot to process, Your Majesty. I understand." I do not expect you to return these feelings immediately, or perhaps ever. But for the sake of my health and for the peace between our peoples, I ask that you try to know me as I have come to know you." Jack turned back to her. For the first time, he really looked at Queen Solara not as an alien ruler or a political partner, but as a person with feelings and fears. "I can try," he said softly. "I don't know if I can love you the way you want, but I can try to know you better." The Queen's exoskeleton glowed with a warm golden color. "That is all I ask for now." As Jack left the Queen's chambers that night, his mind was racing. The false marriage that had saved two civilizations was not so false after all. And now he faced a new challenge. To save the Queen's life, he would have to open his heart to the possibility of something. He had never imagined a true connection with an alien queen. The peace between their peoples now depended not just on treaties and ceremonies, but on whether Jack Harris could learn to care for the most unlikely companion in the galaxy. The next morning, Jack woke up early. He had not slept well. The Queen's words kept playing in his mind. She was dying. She thought she loved him. Their marriage was real to her people. Jack sat at his desk and wrote a message to his handler on Earth, a woman named Nicole, who had been his main contact for 6 years. "Something important has happened," he wrote. "The Queen has told me our marriage is not just political to her people. It is biological and emotional too. She says she is dying because our bond is not complete. She says she loves me. I don't know what to do. Please advise." He sent the message, knowing it would take several hours to reach Earth and for a reply to come back. In the meantime, he had promised the Queen he would try to know her better. A soft chime sounded at his door. Jack opened it to find a small Vesperian servant. The servant bowed and handed him a message on a thin piece of shimmering material. "The Queen invites you to join her in the royal gardens after the morning meal," the servant said through a translator Jack had never been to. The royal gardens. They were private, only for the Queen and her closest advisors. "Tell Her Majesty I will be there," said Jack. After eating a breakfast of human foods grown in special gardens on Vesperia Prime, Jack walked to the royal gardens. 2 guards led him through parts of the palace he had never seen before. Finally, they reached a large glass dome. Inside, it looked like another world. Strange plants with colors Jack had never seen before grew everywhere. Some had leaves that moved on their own. Others glowed with soft light. Queen Solara was waiting for him near a small pond. She wore no formal armor today, just a simple covering over parts of her exoskeleton. Her personal translator drone hovered. Nearby, "Thank you for coming, Jack Harris," she said. "Thank you for inviting me, Your Majesty," he replied. "When we are alone, please call me Solara," said the Queen. Jack nodded, though it felt strange to use her name. "Solara," he said, testing the word. The Queen's exoskeleton shifted to a light blue color. "These gardens are special to me," she said. "They contain plants from all the worlds in our empire, including some from Earth." She led him to a section where he was surprised to see roses, sunflowers, and other earth plants growing. "You have earth flowers here?" Jack asked. "Yes, I had them brought here after our marriage. I wanted to understand your world better." Jack felt touched by this gesture. He had never thought the Queen would be interested in Earth culture. "The gardens are beautiful," he said honestly. "Do you know that Vesperians communicate through colors?" asked Solara suddenly. Jack nodded. "I've heard that your exoskeleton changes color with your emotions, but I don't know what the colors mean." "I have been hiding my colors from you," said Solara. "It is not proper for a queen to show her emotions so openly, but I think it is time you learned." Her exoskeleton began to shift, showing patterns of blue and gold that moved like waves across her body. Blue is calm, peaceful. Gold is happiness, she explained. "When they mix like this, it means I am content in someone's presence." "What about other colors?" asked Jack, fascinated. "Red is anger or passion, purple is sadness, green is fear, black is grief." As she spoke, her colors shifted slightly to demonstrate each emotion. "And what color is love?" Jack asked carefully. "Solara's." Entire body glowed with a soft pink light, brightest near what would be her heart in a human. "This is love," she said quietly. Jack didn't know how to respond. The display was beautiful and strange at the same time. "I have a question," he said. "You said you need to complete our bond to survive. What exactly does that mean? What do we need to do?" Zalara's colors returned to the calm blue. "We need to share experiences, learn about each other, exchange. I believe humans call it affection." "Physical affection?" Jack asked, feeling nervous. "Some physical connection would help, yes. But I understand human and Vesperian bodies are very different. I don't expect what human mates do together." Jack felt relieved. What kind of physical connection would help? "The necklace I gave you during our ceremony helps transmit chemical signals between us. Being near each other regularly will strengthen those signals and ... She hesitated. "In Vesperian culture, mates touch foreheads as a sign of trust and connection." Jack looked at her large alien head with its compound eyes and mandibles. The idea of touching foreheads with her was strange, but not as impossible as he had feared. "We could try that," he said. "Not right now, but maybe when we know each other better." Zalara's colors flashed with gold briefly. "I would like that." They spent the rest of the morning walking through the gardens. Zalara showed him plants that could sing, flowers that changed color with the temperature, and trees that grew upside down, their roots reaching for the sky. For lunch, they sat by the pond. Servants brought food for both of them, human food. For Jack and strange, glowing substances for the queen. "I would like to learn more about Earth," said Zalara. "Would you teach me?" Jack smiled. "What would you like to know?" "How do humans show affection when they care for someone?" Jack thought about it. "In many ways, we spend time together. We share meals like we're doing now. We give each other gifts. We tell each other about our days, our thoughts, our feelings." "What? About physical affection?" "Well, humans touch a lot. We shake hands when we meet. Friends might hug. Families kiss each other on the cheek. Romantic partners hold hands, embrace, kiss on the lips." "Kiss?" asked Zalara, her colors shifting too. A curious yellow. "It's when two people press their lips together," explained Jack, feeling awkward. "It's a sign of love or attraction." "We have no lips," said Zalara, touching her mandibles with one of her smaller arms. "No, I suppose you don't," said Jack with a small laugh. It was the first time he had laughed in the Queen's presence. It felt good. That evening, Jack received a reply from Nicole on Earth. "This is unexpected but could be advantageous," she wrote. "If the Queen truly cares for you, it could strengthen our alliance. But be careful, Jack. Don't lose yourself in this strange situation. Remember who you are and where you come from. The peace depends on you now more than ever." Jack read the message several times. Nicole was right. The peace between their peoples now rested on his relationship with Xa Lara. As he prepared for bed that night, Jack touched the necklace the Queen had given him years ago. He had never known it was helping create a bond between them. Now he wondered what other things he didn't understand about Vesperian culture and about Zalara herself. For the first time in 6 years, Jack felt curious rather than resigned about his role on Vesperia Prime. He wanted to learn more about the Queen, not just for the sake of peace, or even to save her life, but because something inside him had changed today. He wanted to know who Zalara really was beneath the title of Queen. Over the next few weeks, Jack and Zalara spent more time together. They had breakfast in the gardens each morning. They walked together in the palace halls. Sometimes they just sat quietly, Jack reading Earth books on his tablet while Zalara reviewed reports from her empire. Jack noticed that the Queen's health seemed to be improving. Her colors were brighter. She moved with more energy. The royal doctors confirmed that the increased time together was helping strengthen their bond. One evening, Zalara invited Jack to watch the 3 moons of Vesperia Prime rise from her private balcony. They stood side by side looking at the night sky. "On Earth, we only have 1 moon," said Jack. "Only 1? Your nights must be very dark," said Zalara. "Sometimes. But we can see more stars because of the darkness." Zalara's colors shifted to a thoughtful blue-green. "Do you miss Earth, Jack Harris?" Jack thought about the question. "Sometimes. I miss the smell of rain on grass. I miss the sound of birds singing in the morning. I miss human food that isn't grown in alien soil. Would you like to return to Earth for a visit? Asked Zalara. Jack looked at her in surprise. Is that possible? Yes, as my husband you are. Free to travel, we could go together. You would come to Earth? If I was invited, yes. No Vesperian queen has ever visited Earth. Jack tried to imagine Queen Zalara walking on Earth, seeing human cities, meeting human leaders. It was a strange thought, but not an unpleasant one. I think it could be good for relations between our peoples, said Jack. And I would like to show you my world. Zalara's colors flashed with gold happiness. I will speak to my advisors about arranging the trip. Just then, a loud alarm sounded throughout the palace. Zalara's colors instantly changed to bright red and green anger and fear. She touched a panel on the wall, and a screen appeared showing a Vesperian guard. The guard spoke rapidly in the Vesperian language. Jack couldn't understand all of it, but he caught words like attack and human. What's happening? Jack asked. When the guard finished, there has been an attack on one of our outposts near the border with human space, said Zalara, her voice cold and formal through the translator. The guards say it was done by humans. Jack felt sick. That's not possible. The peace treaty, the attackers left a message. They said they were freeing human breeding slaves. Breeding slaves? There are no human slaves in Vesperian space. That's ridiculous. I know this, said Zalara. But it seems some humans believe otherwise. She turned away from Jack, her colors now a deep, angry red. I must go to the war room. My generals will be waiting. Jack followed her through the palace halls. Guards and servants moved quickly out of their way. In the war room, a large group of Vesperian military leaders were gathered around a glowing map. Your Majesty, said one of the generals, bowing low. Then he noticed Jack. Should the human be here? Commander Harris is my husband and the human ambassador, said Zalara firmly. He stays. The general didn't look happy, but he continued his. Report, the attack had been small but deadly. 5 Vesperian guards had been killed. The humans had escaped in a small ship. We must respond with force, said another general. Show the humans we are not weak. No, said Jack quickly. That would only make things worse. This wasn't authorized by Earth government. It must be a splinter group extremists. The human is right, said Zalara. We will not risk the peace over one attack. Send a message to Earth. Tell them what happened. Ask for their help finding these criminals. The generals didn't look pleased, but they obeyed. As they left to carry out her orders, Zalara turned to Jack. Thank you for your counsel, she said, her colors now a calmer blue with streaks of red still visible. Not all of my people believe in this peace. Some think I have become weak because of you. Before Jack could respond, the doors to the war room burst open. 3 Vesperians rushed in, moving faster than any Jack had seen before. They wore no uniforms or official markings. In their hands were weapons. Death to the human. One of them shouted in heavily accented English, everything happened very quickly. The attackers fired their weapons. Guards rushed forward. Jack felt something hit him hard in the chest. He fell backward, pain spreading through his body. As he fell, he saw something amazing. Queen Zalara, moving with incredible speed, attacked. The intruders herself. Her larger arms extended, revealing sharp blade-like edges Jack had never seen before. Her colors blazed bright red as she cut down 2 of the attackers in seconds, then darkness took him. Jack woke up in a strange room. The walls pulsed with a soft green light. He was lying on something soft. His chest hurt, but the pain was dull, manageable. He's awake, said a voice. Jack turned his head to see a human doctor, the first human face he had seen in weeks. Next to her stood Zalara, her colors a swirling mix of purple and gold, sadness and happiness. What happened? Jack asked, his voice weak. You were shot, said the doctor. The queen called for human doctors immediately. The weapon was designed to kill Vesperians, not humans, so you survived. But it was close. The attackers? Asked Jack. Dead, said Zalara. Her voice through the translator sounded different, strained. I killed 2 of them myself. The third was taken by guards. Jack remembered seeing Zalara fight. You protected me. Yes. But queens don't fight. You told me that's what warrior castes are for. Zalara's colors shifted to a deep pink at her core. For my mate, I would break any rule. The doctor cleared her throat. I'll give you 2 some privacy. The patient needs rest, Your Majesty, not too long. When they were alone, Zalara moved closer to Jack's bed. I thought I would lose you, she said quietly. Who were they? Asked Jack. Purists. They believe I should take a Vesperian mate, not a human. They think killing you would free me from our bond. Would it? No, if you died, the bond would remain. Broken, I would die too eventually. Jack reached out his hand toward her. After a moment of hesitation, Zalara extended one of her smaller arms. Jack took it gently. Thank you for saving my life, he said. Thank you for coming into my life, she replied as Jack drifted back to sleep. Still holding Zalara's arm, he realized something important had changed. The thought of returning to Earth no longer felt like going home. Home was becoming something different now, something he had never expected to find on an alien world. And the Queen, with her strange colors and alien body, was becoming less strange to him every day. Jack spent 2 weeks recovering in the medical center. Every day Zalara visited him. Sometimes she brought strange flowers from her garden. Sometimes she just sat quietly beside his bed while she worked. On the last day of his recovery, Jack received an urgent message from Earth. The human government was upset about the attack on the Vesperian outpost. Some leaders wanted to end the marriage treaty. They believed it was no longer working. This is bad, said Jack to the human doctor. If they end the treaty, the war could start again. There's more, said the doctor, looking worried. The news on Earth is saying horrible things about the Queen. They're saying she keeps humans as slaves. They're saying your marriage isn't real, that you're being forced to stay here. Jack felt angry. None of that is true. I know that, but people on Earth don't know. They only hear what the news tells them. When Zalara came to visit that afternoon, Jack told her about the message from Earth. My advisors told me the same thing, she said. Her colors were a worried green-blue. They think humans want war again. No, said Jack firmly. Most humans want peace, but they're confused and scared because of lies. What can we do? Asked Zalara. Jack thought for a moment. We need to show them the truth. We need to speak to both our peoples directly. The next day, Jack was released from the medical center. Though he was still weak, he insisted on meeting with Zalara's advisors and the human representatives on Vesperia Prime. I want to address both our worlds, he told them. The Queen and I together. The advisors looked shocked. No Vesperian queen has ever given a public address with a non-Vesperian, said one. This is exactly why we must do it, said Jack. We need to break old ways of thinking. Zalara's colors shifted to a determined gold blue. Commander Harris is right. Prepare the broadcast systems. We will speak to both worlds tomorrow. That night, Jack and Zalara met in her private chambers to prepare what they would say. As they worked, Jack noticed that the Queen seemed nervous. Her colors kept shifting between green and purple. Are you worried about tomorrow? He asked. Yes, admitted Zalara. What we are doing has never been done before. If we fail, war may return. We won't fail, said Jack. He reached out and took one of her smaller arms in his hand. Together, we're stronger. Zalara's colors shifted to pink at her core. Jack Harris, there is something I must ask you. What is it? In these weeks we have spent together, have your feelings changed toward me? Jack looked at the alien queen who had once seemed so frightening and strange to him. Now he saw her differently. He saw her courage, her wisdom, her care for her people. He saw the way her colors shifted when she looked at him. Yes, he said simply. They have changed. Do you think you could ever feel for me what I feel for you? Jack stood up from his chair. He moved closer to Zalara until he stood directly in front of her. Looking up into her compound eyes, he said, I think I already do. Then, remembering what she had told him about Vesperian customs, He slowly raised himself up and gently touched his forehead to hers. Zalara's entire body glowed with bright pink light. Her smaller arms reached out and carefully embraced him. "In all the vastness of space," she said softly, "I never expected to find love with a human." "And I never expected to find home on an alien world," replied Jack. The next morning they stood together in the great hall of the palace. Cameras from both worlds were pointed at them. Billions of humans and Vesperians were watching. Jack wore a new uniform that combined Earth blue and Vesperian gold. Zalara wore her royal armor, but it was decorated with small Earth flowers. "People of Earth and Vesperia," began Jack, his voice strong despite his recent injury. "6 years ago, I came to this world as part of a peace treaty. I married Queen Zalara to end a war that was destroying both our peoples. Many believed our marriage was false," continued Zalara, her translator conveying her words to the humans. "Watching, a political arrangement with no meaning beyond the treaty. That was true at first," said Jack. "We were strangers from different worlds, brought together by necessity, not choice." "But time has changed us," said Zalara. Her exoskeleton began to glow with soft pink light, visible to all watching. "What began as duty has become something else entirely." Jack reached out and took Zalara's arm in his hand. Many Vesperians gasped at this public display of affection. "I stand before you today not as a prisoner or a political symbol," said Jack, looking directly into the cameras, "but as someone who has found understanding and love in the most unexpected place." "Our differences are many," said Zalara. "Our bodies, our customs, our worlds all different. But our desire for peace, for understanding, for connection, these are the same." Jack held up his other hand, showing a small ring. "In human culture, marriage is symbolized by rings. Today I give this ring to Queen Zalara, not because of a treaty, but because I choose to." He placed the ring on a thin chain and carefully put it around Zalara's neck. "And in Vesperian culture," said Zalara, "bonds are sealed with silk." She extended one of her arms, and a thin, shimmering thread appeared. Carefully, she wrapped it around Jack's wrist, where it hardened into a beautiful bracelet. "To those who would divide us with lies and violence," said Jack, his voice firm, "know this, our union is real. There are no human slaves in Vesperian space. There is only peace, trade, and the possibility of friendship between our worlds. And to those who cannot imagine different beings finding common ground," added Zalara, her colors bright and clear, "we say, look at us. If a human and a Vesperian queen can bridge their differences, cannot our peoples do the same?" They stood together, human and alien, their hands joined. As the cameras broadcast their image across two civilizations, in the days that followed, public opinion began to shift. The images of Jack and Zalara together, clearly caring for each other despite their differences, touched hearts on both worlds. The treaty remained in place. The peace held. 5 years later, Jack and Zalara stood together on a new world, a planet between Earth and Vesperia Prime, where both species could live comfortably. It was the first joint human Vesperian colony. Children from both worlds played together in gardens filled with plants from Earth and Vesperia. Human scientists worked alongside Vesperian engineers to build homes that suited both species. "Did you ever imagine this would be possible?" asked Zalara, her colors a content blue-gold, as they watched the children play. "No," admitted Jack. "When I agreed to marry you, I thought I was giving up my future to save others. I never thought I was finding my future instead." Zalara's colors shifted to the now familiar pink of love. "A false marriage ended the war," she said, "but true love built the peace." Jack smiled and touched his forehead to hers, no longer strange but familiar and dear. Together they had found home in the space between their worlds.